yes, my desire to want to help and serve others and help bring out the best in them just started to evolve over those 5 years. And whilst I wish these were my words, the best way I've heard that explained came from Tony Robbins. He said that when you choose to learn something new and apply it, you have an opportunity to grow. And when you grow, you have something to give. And when you give, i.e. help others, you find, a sense of meaning and purpose beyond yourself. And I think that's naturally what I've experienced and what I found a real joy in doing. And, from a selfish perspective, it keeps me sharp, it keeps me learning, and keeps me accountable. So it's a virtual, ongoing, reinforcing cycle. I love helping others progress, and in the act of doing so, keeping myself sharp and active. Because first and foremost, I'm an active property entrepreneur. That's what I do. The masterminding and mentoring side of things is a natural progression from that, but something I dedicate an amount of days to each month and love doing. Nice. So that's a bit the story of how it started and how it's evolved.
Yeah, and so tell us. So obviously, I understand, and I met you doing mentorship and masterminding around a table, and I understand that you're carrying on with that. I think you have a couple of openings each year. Do you have an intake a couple of times a year or something? Is that what you do? Is it a couple of intakes a year that you take people on?
Yeah, so absolutely. It is released in cohorts, if you will, capacity. Our launch of this, next 12-month program is literally going to be going live as we speak any moment across this week and next week to, let people be aware of the support they can have on their growth if they're serious about progressing to the next level. The kind of people that we're working with are not brand new beginners in property, but those who have some experience, they've invested in some education, and they've applied that and actually got some results. So they're probably at least 1 year into their journey minimum and have at least a minimum of 1K of property profit coming in per month. So they've got some proven results, but all of the sticking problems of getting to the next level that one's experiencing is what Chris and I love to help people really accelerate their growth journey with. And so we'll be releasing opportunities to essentially apply for one of 12 spaces. So that's 2 tables of 6 people that Chris helped with each month for a full year long. With those applications available to, if the fit's right, put an application in to secure over the next few weeks. So literally watch this space. There'll be more announcements coming out. We're at the very front end talking about today, but we'll be able to then have our first group getting started most likely in June and run with them, journey with them, if you will, for a full year with full day per month and weekly support on Zoom. And the one that you experienced, we are also
can I just say on that? So obviously you had all this kind of masterminding, and then this for me was a really big thing. The next thing I hear from you is, we're wanting to do a retreat, and I kept hearing these retreats and other people doing it.
Yeah.
And then I attended, and I can honestly say it was such a step change for me. And I tell you, the one thing that was the biggest step change is, I come from a family where I've not had a hard life really, but we've always come from lack. It's always, we can't afford that, and we can't afford that, and even if you could afford it, you just wouldn't, because also you don't want to be buying something that looks like you've got too much. And I remember turning up at this place on the shores of the beautiful lake, and looking at this building and just being, and it was so funny. walking in, and it was feeling like a child in the most beautiful surroundings, running around, looking at how, you know, lovely it was. And then we had, you know, meals made for us and with the other incredible people. And it completely changed my expectations. It was kind of like, this should be normal. You know, you can be and do things in a different way. So yeah, tell us a bit more how the retreats came about, because yeah, it was a massive step change for me. And I mean that amongst others, but that initial kind of being somewhere that's, you know, much more opulent. Not that I'm saying you have to be opulent, but it just made me realize that, you know, you can have different wants, and it's not a bad thing.
It's just such a joy, music to my ears, to hear how impactful the experience was for you, because it was the very first one that Chris and I launched. And the conception, the idea for it came way back in 2016, when Chris and I were discussing our projected future plans. I've never been great at looking out 5 years, 10 years long to the future. But one thing we were pretty clear on is that we felt a real draw to want to create amazing experiences in amazing places for great people who want to grow. And the mastermind format was the central piece to that. And then it was about identifying location and bringing together a great group of people. And then Chris and I hosting and coordinating, facilitating a weekend of structured discussion and workshopping to arrive at some end tangible plan that could then go and be executed on with all the right psychological conditions around it. So that first one that we did back in 2021 with you was a vision and an idea, a seedling of an idea from 2016 that finally we delayed 1 year because of the whole COVID pandemic lockdown situation, but we're able to launch it in that September 2021 to just an outstanding success in our view, and a wonderful experience for us and those who are with us, and great memories from it, and lifelong friendships, and great results as well that have come as the dividends of that planning and the execution that followed. And so then came the next year, so 2022, same again. We learned, refined a few things, and again delivered a similar form with a different group who are going through and sticking to their weekly routine of their mastermind. We've essentially created for them a board of advisors that is just so much fun to initiate, but then see to continue to grow. So we will absolutely continue to have our annual mastermind retreat at the end of September. I think this next one we're going to look to be targeting somewhere a bit warmer than the Lake District, but again, more news on that to be released soon. But
can I ask, so what made you sort of make that decision? You know, because, you know, for everyone, this is a conversation about sort of, you know, masterminding in general and what people can do. So as I say, I mastermind sort of absolutely everything, but that sort of jump from, you know, all, you know, general people coming to a room or a hotel and meeting up and having sort of mentorship and training, and then this kind of step change into actually going, you know, this is like going away, isn't it? It's like a one-off. It's like a you know, a big planning event inherently as well, wasn't it? So what made you jump to that offering?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a major event. It's a big body of work to execute something like that, and a huge amount at the front end to identify the right people to create this board of advisors for one another. But the reason for it is to absolutely get the very best out of each individual through an immersive gathering over 3 days, because it needs time away from one's business, from the weeds of it. It needs complete and utter almost closing out of the rest of the world to focus in on what's important for, because this was a planning event. This is a planning event for mapping out the year and the quarter ahead. And so it's that gift to oneself, like you experienced of, okay, you're sacrificing time from the family for a weekend or however many days during the week it might be. And so you're thinking in your head, trying to reconcile what's the return on investment? What's the payoff here? Well, it's a gift to oneself to, in the true sense of the word, have a retreat in luxurious surroundings, but more importantly, to invest the kind of time strategically thinking on one's business rather than working in it. And so it can't just be a quick 1 hour phone call. It's an entire 3 days to be working on the business with the support of amazing people around you. And the reason why it's in a nice location with great people and there's activities and meals is because we want to layer in very rich memories that it's fun for us to create that, but it's a very rich experience for someone to take away with them and always anchor back to that vision for life that they create, because we can link our dreams and visions back to stories and pictures and strong memories like that, rather than a two-dimensional, say, phone call or just a meeting room. And when it comes bonds and friendships, from where the understanding of one another as businesses and business plans can run so deep that the kind of support and cheerleaders you have for your business just couldn't happen if you're meeting someone on a 50-minute, 20-minute networking prior to a training day, but away with people for a full 3 days, bonds, friendships, potential business partnerships, and the level of accountability and support that comes from that are just another level. And underlying all of that is fun, Emma. We want to have fun in this journey, don't we? You know, we work hard, but fun is a massive ingredient of what I see as the other pillars of getting things done. It's key to enjoy the journey. So that's another reason why it's in places, locations like this.
And I can see now, because I always used to sort of think, oh, those sort of things aren't for me, because, you know, inherently they're generally, you know, a bit a wedge of cash. And and as you say, that time, and if we all value our time, is not just the money, isn't it? It's those days as well, time away from your family. But what I've really noticed is that, yeah, so I have a monthly business mastermind, and it's just, you know, a morning. And it is incredibly rare that I won't do that. I literally change holidays to not coincide with that morning, because the benefit of just having those few hours where I force myself to go in, you obviously you can't sit there on your phone. That would be incredibly rude and not supportive of the others. But I'm so committed myself to be there for others, and I have that expectation that they are there for me as well. And that's the same. I have an accountability group. It's every Tuesday, you know, 9 o'clock. You know, I have the expectation that I have to turn up for them, but likewise, I expect them to turn up for me. So yeah, when you're talking about, you know, having that chance to be away from things, I think that is so incredibly key, and it shows that commitment from sort of both sides. So yeah, I think that was you know, amazing.